Hey guys, just wanted to jump in before the episode started with a little bit of a trigger warning. This play does discuss themes of suicide and hangings, so I just wanted to let you guys know about that before starting the episode. Hope you guys enjoy. Thanks. I wonder what show we're looking at today, so don't forget to press play. Hello and welcome to Press Play the podcast where we replay so you don't have to. Hello, I'm Hayley. I'm here with David and Maddie. I usually say Maddie and David, I feel like, so I just thought I'd switch it up. But not introduce yourselves. I'll say
hi, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Maddie. Still?
Really?
Hasn't changed.
Nope.
Not this week.
Not this week. Maybe next.
Maybe. Okay, we'll see. Yeah. Today we are doing the play Waiting for Godot.
Yay!
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. This is... I want to say that this is like one of the most out there plays that we're going to be doing.
Absurd, you might say.
I was trying to avoid saying it, but like... Because I was
That is something that some people may say.
I was going to like get to it. I was like, when we discuss it, but I was... trying to subtly be like,
it's a little bit quirky. It's a little bit different.
It's a bit weird.
It's a bit
absurd.
It's a bit weird, but it's fun. Well,
it's
actually,
sad. It's a comedy. It's a tragedy.
It's a tragic comedy.
It's all the emotions.
I love how now we're just saying the genres.
Okay, so Waiting for Godot.
We've skipped like the entire podcast and went straight to the end.
Thanks for listening, guys.
That's it.
It's a play about existentialism. Sorry, I thought I was going to pronounce that wrong, which is why it took me a second to say it. And it's about two people, but we'll get to that. Firstly, you two, what is your history with the play?
I studied it in high school. We studied it. I did an essay on it, and I did a forming task on it, and we watched adaptations of it. I haven't seen it like live, but I've watched.
You've done a lot on it, though.
A lot. And then in uni, I did another essay on it, and then I got a Waiting for Godot tattoo. So I'm kind of connected
Maddie,
to this play.
On the YouTube, we'll like put a photo of Maddie's tattoo.
I basically have like a tree interpretation with like the boots and the hats, and it's really funky. And yeah, it's because of Waiting for Godot.
There's a tree in the play, by the way.
Yeah, that's a big.
That's a big thing.
But yeah, so clearly I like this play enough to get it on my body forever.
I have studied it. In school, I studied the play, and I made my own adaptation of the play inspired by, well, obviously I'm inspired by Waiting for Godot and then also Peter Pan, and I like combined the two, which was really funky because it's like that timeless like Neverland, but then also Waiting for Godot.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, that's probably all that I've really done with the play. I mean, sort of briefly studied it in uni, but not as much as you did, Maddie.
Yeah,
just a big fan.
I not as much as you. In school, I did. So in school, we were studying absurdism, and then we got to choose scenes to perform. I didn't choose Waiting for Godot. So like we looked at Waiting for Godot, but we didn't like study it. You know what I mean? Like it was more like she presented all the options that we could choose from, and then if we chose it, we like studied that play further. But the play that I chose, I didn't actually study further because I was in a very stressful time. This is the story I've told this story before to them. Where what? It's not a big story.
I was gonna say when you had glandular fever.
No.
Yeah,
so Hayley's out here studying.
No, I was just
Waiting for Godot in grade 6.
I was just going to say, this is the story. This is the time where I had another assessment that was really big with my scene partner, and we both were only the two people in the entire grade doing that assessment, and we didn't practice our lines at all. And before our performance, we like practiced, and our teacher watched us and was like, oh my God, like you two are going to fail. Then we did the performance, and we nailed it. We got an A+. I did a scene from All That Fall, which is another play from Samuel Beckett, which I discovered while researching this that it was actually a radio play.
Oh, that's so fun.
Awesome.
So I I performed a radio play.
So what I'm hearing is that you had the choice to study Waiting for Godot, and you chose not to, and that's your experience with Waiting for Godot.
Yeah.
Because 2 other people in the class were doing scenes from Waiting for Godot, and so we
You
wanted
couldn't
to
be a bandwagon.
we wanted to
Yeah.
be different. No, because they were doing the same scene.
What scene was it?
It was the one where, I'm trying to think. I don't know if I remember.
That's okay.
I was about to be like, he's checking his hat, but then that's just throughout the play.
Yeah, look, that happens a bit.
That's not like defining. I don't quite remember, but it was a comical part of the play. I do remember that.
Fun.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of my, like, I looked at it, but not not in depth.
Yeah.
But I know the story and all
Good.
that. And I've done an essay on it for a uni assessment.
Haley and I did the same essay and
I
we
know.
didn't realise.
We
didn't know
we
each
didn't
other.
know each other back then. We realized not only did we do the same essay, like
we picked the same plays.
we picked the same plays and the same topic. Because like you could pick like 2 plays and a topic. And
the exact same. We were
Look.
meant to be friends.
great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Sorry, David.
Ouch.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get into who this play was written by. I was a playwright. No.
What are you?
No, I was.
But she didn't want to read the play. It's like, I wrote it. Don't want to study it.
Yeah.
Exactly, because I wrote it. So like, why would
You
I
know
need to
everything
study
about
it?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't study it, but I studied the playwright for this week. And the playwright is none other than Samuel Beckett. I'm saying that right, am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, Samuel Beckett. So Samuel Beckett, he, our boy Samuel. I feel like it's gonna be one of those words when you say it like a lot of times, it doesn't feel like a word.
Sam.
Samuel.
Yeah, can I call him Sam?
Yeah.
Okay, Sam.
I've decided on behalf of Samuel Beckett.
Please, if you are doing an essay or like talking to someone about
Good old
Samuel,
Sammy
don't
B.
say Sam.
In my research, though, I did stumble across a website that was like, Sam did this, and I was so confused.
not know
I was
him
Do you
well
think
enough.
he was
thrown off.
called Sam back in the day?
I mean, a lot of Samuels are, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe that's something you ponder in an essay if you're... Maybe. That's your essay question. Was
That's the
Samuel
thesis?
called Sam? Yeah. That's the thesis. Okay, so he was born in Dublin on the 13th of April 1906.
It's near your birthday.
Well, I would say it's a few decades before his birthday.
It's like a week off.
Yeah. A week and like a couple hundred years.
A week and a couple hundred years. For
Not a couple
the
hundred.
record.
Just
Oh yeah, not a couple.
not a couple hundred. Jeez, this man wasn't born. He died in like 1989.
A week in like
A few decades.
maybe
I was
like
right.
A week in like 70 years.
So he's
like-
basically your twin flame.
No, actually like 100 years. He was born in 1906.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I thought he was born in like 19.
06.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he's about 100 years older than me. Not
Aw.
exactly, but about.
Do you feel connected to him?
1 week and 95 years. Or 96 or 94. Who knows?
Who knows?
But also, for the record, for anyone who's wondering, my birthday is the 6th of April. So that, 6th
What
of
year?
April,
What year, David?
13th of April, 2001.
Now you know everything about David. You can hack into
Yes.
everything.
Oh no.
No, I don't think birthdays are as
They're
important.
not.
They used to be like, don't share your birthday, but now,
Really?
yeah, it
Don't
used to
share
be-
your birthday?
Oh, like on online things. Like it used to be like, don't share your
Don't let
birthday because
anyone
they
know
use
when
your
you were
birthday for a
born.
lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
But
Now
now it's
celebrate
like-
your birthday on a different day so no one finds out.
But
Maybe that's what you've been doing the whole time with us.
Yeah,
My
Maybe it's your
face-
birthday
born on a
today.
different day.
my Facebook used to be wrong.
Where are the presents?
I am your present. My
You are.
presence.
Anyway,
You are.
so this guy was a smart guy. Let's just put that out there. He was an intelligent man. So the Becketts, they were pretty well off. Their house had a tennis court.
Oh, I want a
Ooh.
tennis. I don't really.
Do you? I don't.
I don't know. I like
think I'd
tennis
play.
courts. I feel like I would.
You would want a tennis court in your
I would come over and play. But
Yeah.
then I'd
Yeah.
leave.
You can
I
you
don't
can
want
have a
one.
tennis court so that we can come over. Like I don't want a
Yeah.
tennis court, but
Haley and I can have a cul-de-sac.
yeah. Well, no, he can be in the cul-de-sac.
Am I not
Oh,
allowed
yeah, no,
on the
you're in the
cul-de-sac if I have a
but,
tennis
but
court?
you have to have the big house then.
By the way,
with
we have a
tennis court.
plan that
Oh,
we're all
yeah.
gonna end up in a cul-de-sac.
I want a
together.
big pool. Like an underground.
I don't want a pool.
I
I
want
want,
Too
I
much
want an
effort to
indoor
clean.
pool.
Okay, so you have an indoor
Oh,
pool.
I like
By
that.
the way, everyone, I've decided I'm gonna be rich.
Oh,
But
we
like
all
not crazy rich. Like
Just enough.
rich to a point where I can afford a nice house and some luxuries, but not rich to the point where I'm a person.
Yeah,
Oh, where I'm a bad person.
I can bleep it out.
But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I
not
do.
rich to the point where I'm hoarding all of my money,
No, I just want a
but
pool
rich
and
to the
alcohol
point
on
where I
tap.
can afford a bit of luxury.
We know someone who has alcohol on tap in their house.
All
and
I
it's, like,
want.
amazing.
What's your luxury item going to be then? Because Dave and
s-
I have pools.
A music studio.
Oh, yes.
I really, really want a music /
I
gaming
want
studio.
a library.
I've always wanted a cinema.
That too. I don't want a cinema.
I want a cinema. Or like an arcade
If
room.
Haley, no, if Maddie was on the block,
She'd make a cinema.
she would make
I
a cinema
would.
room.
I would do a cinema room, but I'd
See,
do a cool one,
we
not
were-
like a...
No,
We
see,
were
the thing
watching
is,
the
we were
block
watching the block together, and
You're like,
you-
I don't know
sorry.
who would make a
Okay.
cinema
Oh, and
room.
Well, everyone was making a cinema room.
you could make there was like a spare room, and you could make anything you wanted
Oh,
with the room.
everyone
It was
did
like
cinema
you can
room.
do whatever you want with it, and everyone, bar like one couple, did a cinema room, and it was just
Like,
like,
That's
and they
not that
did like an
exciting.
extra bathroom. It was like a spa, but it just turned into a bathroom in the end, in
Oh.
my opinion, because
but
it
we
had all of
said
the things.
we
of a
would make
bathroom.
an underground library
Library's kind of funky.
and
Yeah, with like a piano.
oh, yeah.
and
that would be
storage. We'd
really
make an
nice.
underground library with bookshelf
with, like,
doors.
Yeah, like a secret bookshelf door.
That would be so
kind of-
fun.
well, not like fully secret, but just like hidden. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's
And
all
then it goes through
storage.
to storage.
It could be Inscape's office.
No,
It could be.
could be.
We could.
Anyway,
If
so
if we ever have a library, guys, in our building, maybe have a little gander. Look around. You might find a secret door.
That'll be the cul-de-sac. It'll be my house, Haley's house, your house, Inscape's house.
oh, I love that.
We have a house.
Also, I don't know if you'd be on board with this, David, but do you remember, Maddie, when I sent you the TikTok of the children like having the gates connected and the kids would just run over? So
Oh,
basically,
that's cute.
they were like best friends. They were neighbors.
Well, your kids can run over to my place anytime. I will give them all
You'll
of
be like
the treats,
cool Uncle David.
You
all
will
of the
be.
different things. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
That would be the cutest. I feel like they'll love me. And then
they will.
when they're mad at you guys for being parents and doing
I
the whole
mean,
like,
fair.
Be like,
you
"I'm
have to
cool."
stick by these rules and stuff, and then I'll be like, come over to me. Come over.
David's good cop.
no, but I feel like we'll be. I mean, like, you
Yeah,
are
like, good
gonna like
parent-
get annoyed with your parents every now
Good
and then.
parents,
Yeah.
but
Like,
like,
it's
yeah,
a-
it happens, and parents have to like there have
to
to
be
be
parents.
rules.
There have to be, yeah.
But I,
But
You
you
as
don't
an
have to
external-
enforce them.
as an external person, I don't have to enforce those rules. So
I'm so excited for our cul-de-sac.
I know.
I think it's gonna be good.
I really hope it happens.
It will.
It will.
I kind of hope it does too.
We'll invest in
I
it.
think we could make it
We
happen.
could have a cul-de-sac. I like a cul-de-sac.
I really do. Anyway, we've spent. This is meant to be about Sam, and we.
Yeah, I feel like
There was
I
a
feel
lot.
like tangents are good, but that was a
that
long
was like
tangent.
that was just like our dream home.
Edit something from that, but I don't know what you're gonna get
I don't
from
know.
that.
I don't know if I'll have the whole thing. I think maybe I'll.
Please
just,
no.
Probably not the whole thing. That might be
No.
a lot.
Um,
Okay.
but that's hilarious. Where was I in my Sam? like
said
Oh, he was
name.
well off.
he was because he hadn't said it.
So
That's
far
where it
we've-
started. The
We've said
tennis
his
court.
name, and then he's well off, and then his parents had a tennis court.
And we were like tennis courts.
They were well off because they were with the church. They were with the Church of Ireland. Did you know? I didn't know about this. Ireland has like a whole history with like Catholic
Oh yeah.
like control and everything like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a big
like,
thing.
but like also it's a recent thing. Like it's not like
Like that dated.
it's not that dated.
No.
It's like
It's crazy, hey.
it is crazy.
I feel like Ireland seems very Catholic in my
They are
in my
very
brain. Like
Catholic.
They are.
I not like I knew that it was a thing. I didn't know when, but I'm not surprised that it was a recent thing because like in my brain it feels very Catholic.
Anyway, so he was raised Anglican, but like spoiler alert, he became agnostic. He was in Ireland, but he got out of there and travelled to London, France, Germany. He studied, got his bachelor's degree. He was a novelist, playwright, short story writer, theatre director, poet, and literary translator. This man had credits.
What did a literary translator do?
Translate literature.
He was like a translator for
literature.
Oh,
okay.
So like, this book is in French.
Oh,
Let
that's
me
funky.
translate it to
English.
Irish. So he studied a lot. He was a professor at one point. He's a smart man. But then he's decided to settle down in France after like traveling a whole bunch, and World War II. A lot of these playwrights are in World War II. Like, they're in the time. I guess it makes sense.
We are
like,
doing like the classica.
No, but I think I was going to say it makes sense as like war, and then from that
Writing.
massive creation, like such a big sad thing, and then from that human expression.
Yeah.
But Beckett, our man, he joined the French resistance, in which he worked as a courier. Yes, thank you. Which, if you don't know, because I just learnt like 2 seconds ago, it's a male boy. But no, he was like, he passed information to the English about the German soldiers and what they were doing, what they were up to. But then they were betrayed. The resistance was, I shouldn't say it like that. The resistance was betrayed. And it was discovered and people were captured. So he went into hiding in like an unoccupied zone of France until the liberation of the country. And so he like, from that point on, he was kind of a private man. He was just like an agricultural labourer for that period. He wrote some stuff. But once like the war ended and all that, his stuff began to become really popular. Like, his plays and stuff was getting recognized around the world, and they'd be like, do this interview, do this radio thing, do this thing. And he didn't want to. He was a very private man. Like, he wasn't really there for like publicity and stuff. Like, he received a Nobel Prize for literature. Little clap.
Wow.
Fairy clap.
Fairy claps. But he accepted the award, but declined the trip to go and do the speech. He was like, I don't want to.
Oh.
I don't want to do a speech. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty impressive man. He died on the 22nd of December in 1989, like a few months after his wife. And they suspect it was from, I don't know how to say this word, emphysema, which is like
Emphysema.
a lung. Oh, cool. It's a lung breathing, like shortness of breath kind of disease, and possibly Parkinson's. And yes, and that's Sammy Boy. That's our main man, who wrote. Oh, his other plays like that are well known include What, and All That Fall. But he wrote more. I just feel like those are the most.
Quite a few.
He has quite a few. I just feel like those were the most. They were like the top well known. Godot is the most well known. But yeah.
Okay.
According to the sites I found.
According to Google.
According to Dr. Google.
Dr. Google.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, or at least second, because you heard it on Google first. But
Yeah, do your research, kids.
So that was like a short summary of his life. But in terms of what he was doing while he was writing Waiting for Godot, David, our historical context man for the week.
Ooh, okay. So first off, I just want to do a little preface and say that Beckett wanted his audiences to see the play without allowing their interpretations to be impacted by considerations of the social context. However, every play is impacted by and can be contextualized through knowledge of the playwright and circumstances of the society in which it was written. So, with that said, this play was written between October 1948 and January 1949. When it was first finished, it was rejected by a number of publishers before finally being published in 1952.
Damn.
And it was from there first produced in 1953. The play was originally written in French and Beckett, being a translator, translated it to English himself. Beckett said, "I began to write Godot as a relaxation to get away from the awful prose I was writing at the time." And the play was written about 3 years after the end of World War II, which a lot of scholars think could have had a major influence for Beckett when he was writing the play. With German forces invading France during the war, you said already, Haley, but Beckett united with the resistance fighters, sharing information on German military movements with England.
Super spy.
And so that meant that both during and after the war, Beckett was able to witness the brutality of the war firsthand. There's also a good chance that Beckett was inspired by the play Berenice by Jean Racine, who was a French playwright that Beckett studied around the time of writing Waiting for Godot. Racine was focused on creating undramatic yet interesting drama, writing plays with predetermined endings, mundane dialogue, and non-vivid development. On top of that, some discourse would say that the play took inspiration from Sartre's No Exit and Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. While the play was well received in France, its American and British debuts received some tough criticism. Although, of course, that changed as the play is now highly regarded, well known, and commonly studied. In 1999, Waiting for Godot was deemed the most significant English language play of the 20th century through a vote conducted by the British Royal National Theatre. But on the flip side of that, Beckett was also very strict about his play and didn't allow for anything that steered away from the exact image that he had created. An example of this is him suing a Dutch theatre company in 1988 for casting a woman in the play, as he didn't want to take away from the play's masculinity.
Okay.
Oof.
Okay.
Now that he's dead, this responsibility has been passed.
Now that he's dead, we can do what
women
we want.
do
No, we
whatever
can't.
they
We
want.
can't do what we want.
We
Oh.
can't?
No.
Oh wow.
So he's dead.
Wait.
This responsibility has been passed on to his nephew. And his nephew has continued to be just as strict with its production.
I have a
like with
confession
the
to make.
productions of the play.
I have a confession to make. In school, the scenes were done by women.
That's like illegal.
That actually is, which is like crazy, but I mean, maybe there's some sort of technicalities around, like, I know
Education.
that education is slightly different, but
maybe I should
he
take
wouldn't
that out
allow.
so that they don't. You don't know what school I went to. It's very easy to find out where someone went to school, though.
Yeah, but so due to copyright issues, women and non-binary people won't be able to perform in the play until 70 years after Samuel's death, which will be in 2059.
Jeez. Has there literally, like, are you sure we couldn't find, I want to see if we could find a version where,
No.
other than a school version.
I was doing some research, and there's one group that, because there's been multiple people who have tried and been sued and been shut down, and it, like, has never gone ahead. And then I think there's one group as well that was like really pushing for it. It got shut down, but they were like pushing really hard, and they were like, and it was this whole thing a couple of years ago. There was also someone who wanted to do it with Maggie Smith in Waiting for Godot, and apparently mentioned it to Maggie Smith while just like at a dinner, and Maggie Smith just laughed and just kept on laughing because it's just like that absurd of an idea, because it's just not allowed.
Absurd.
Yeah, but like it's just like there's
I'm
no way that
shocked.
it can be
I
done
have no idea
I
about
had
that.
no idea.
unless the
Maddie,
unless-
did you perform in it? In
no.
school?
No.
Did females perform in it in school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was like a directing thing.
Well,
We
yeah,
had
of
females
course.
do
It was like a
Yeah.
like
I
I only
directed.
had like
yeah,
two
I'm
guys
not sure
in my
like
class.
what the technicalities are around education, but
Maybe
it
we
is a
shouldn't
thing.
say.
And like it depends on, that could be changed before 2059 if Samuel Beckett's nephew decides to change it, because he has the the power
Oh.
and control, and
old
he's
is
been the
his
one who's because he
nephew? Yeah.
inherited Beckett's estate
Whoa.
and all of that. So with that, he has the rights to, and he's just decided to continue Beckett's legacy of ensuring that the play is performed in the exact same way as it was originally.
So he's probably not going to change his mind.
So he probably won't, because there was a whole discourse about him honouring Beckett's decision, in that, like, well, if his duty, I guess, as the person who has the, like, who holds that power and those rights now, is to ensure that Beckett's wish is maintained.
Yeah.
But then also,
sense.
like, it is up to him.
I found Edward Beckett. He doesn't look like the sort of guy who's going to
Really?
change his mind. I don't know. I can
How
just,
old
like,
does he look? No, he's not changing
He's
his mind.
No.
Maddie took one look and was like,
Yeah, no.
absolutely not.
No.
He's not changing his mind. Damn, that's...
So not until 2059 when it goes into Creative Commons.
Is that is inherently sex? I don't know. Is that...
I don't know. I don't
think
like it. No, yeah, like I find it sexist. I don't like it, but
No, I think it is. It's...
yeah, I'm trying to justify it and I
No.
can't.
Gender is a construct. Like,
I
I
can't
know that's
justify
like...
it.
I know that's like not the thought back in the day,
I don't-
but...
I know a lot of the themes of Waiting for Godot and I love it, but I wouldn't say masculinity is one.
No. What?
I really wouldn't. I
Yeah.
don't think I would have liked the play as much as I do if I like was taught it with like this is a masculine
This
play.
is a play for only
That's
men.
not the main
Yeah.
themes of it at all.
No, it's not, but it's
Why-
just like, I think Beckett wanted to be like, yes, it has to maintain the masculinity that it does have.
I'm
Which
really...
is
I
a
guess it's an
gross
all male cast.
thing.
I'm
but
really disappointed by that.
yeah.
I am too.
I feel the same way when I found out about like J.K. Rowling.
yeah.
Like just
You're
so
just like, dang,
disappointed.
I
Like,
love
I
the
liked
art.
this art, but I'm
You can
so
still like
disappointed
the art,
in
not
you.
the human.
Yeah.
Death of the author. It's a thing in literature. This is
Yeah.
interesting. This is literary theory, which is what he studied. Death of the author is a big thing. It's about studying, like, looking at after an author dies, how will an audience interpret it, or even after an author publishes it, they have no control of how an audience will take the story, and then like it's like when in a funny way, it's kind of like when the teacher is like, the door was blue. What does that mean?
Yeah.
When the author was just like, I like blue doors.
yeah.
Disappointed, Sam.
Disappointed and
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah.
But also, like, he did want his plays, like, he didn't want his plays to be considered through the lens of who he is and
Yeah.
the context at the time, which I don't know.
I don't think that works though. Like, I get
Yeah, I don't like it.
what he's saying. Doesn't want to see through he is, but he.
Oh,
is
I don't think
ultimate-
that's. Oh, I wasn't linking that to like why females can't. Like
no,
that was not.
I know, but
that was
if
not
that's
my
his
point.
excuse,
Mm.
then like it's not.
Oh, I
and
don't. I don't think that's his excuse. That's just something he wanted, and then the
I mean,
females not being allowed in it was a separate issue.
I
was, like, a
guess
separate
that's
thing.
like not really something that was as scandalous back in the 19.
No, back then it
whatevers.
was like, oh, fair.
I was like, yeah, no, females.
Yeah, 1950s
50s, yeah.
and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s
90s.
and the
and-
noughties and the 10s.
The 20s? Or are we
Well,
getting somewhere now?
We're slowly.
Well, we're only at the start of the 20s.
The
but
other
so
thing is
far.
like different parts of the world. Like different parts of the world are way more progressive than other parts of the world.
Yeah.
There is still so much sexism in
Oh
other
my god,
parts
this
of the
is
world.
the 20s.
I know. This is the that was like the whole thing with the pandemic. We're like, oh, we're gonna go through our depression, and then we're gonna like go.
Yeah, this is the 20s. Like when I think 1920, I'm like, ugh, so long ago. Like 20 seems so far away because it's the very
History-
start of a century. Like a
Repeats itself.
wow.
There was a
So we're gonna
Epi-
have some speakeasies.
yeah.
But like, do you know what I mean? Like, think about like our great grandkids being like, oh yeah, she was born in like the 20s.
We weren't born in the 20s.
No, not us, but like their mum or something. I don't know. Like being like, yeah, my nan was born in the 20s.
We're weirder. We're born in the thousands.
That's old.
That is like that like we've surpassed a whole century. Like we are at the beginning of a century. Of not only
That's crazy.
It is crazy. That was really interesting. I had no
That
idea.
was very interesting.
And I'm disappointed in Sam.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sam. That was not good enough. So the play is about
Maddie, what actually happens in this play? Like this play of existentialism.
yeah.
Let the people know. What?
Drags out a bit.
Let
So
them eat cake.
get ready, guys. Get some popcorn.
Yeah.
It's really entice-in. Some wild
It is
stuff
when you watch,
happens.
I feel.
I think it even is when you
Even
read
reading
it.
it.
I find
Reading
very-
it's
but I
nice,
do
yeah.
know, and I will preface. I'm going to explain this plot as someone who really loves the play, and I'm trying to be neutral. But there's a lot of people that will be like, this, then this happens, and then this happens, because it is one of those plays that not everyone loves.
If you don't explain, no shame. Like I don't.
it
Like it
can be
is-
kind of draggy. I get that.
It is absurdism. Absurdism is kind of the wackier side of theatre. That's a bit more like
I mean, it's not for everyone.
no.
Like I remember in school, some people being like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And some people being like, "Whoa, this is incredible." I was one of the incredible ones.
But also, yeah, with that in mind, I feel like a lot of people take Waiting for Godot very seriously, and it's kind of clowny.
yeah,
Like it's very slapstick. It's
Mhm.
very
I will say I'm not the biggest fan of absurdism, and I like this play
Yeah.
because it's not. It's very intriguing in the way
it's comedy and
it is
tragedy.
it is comedy. It's really fun. Even though they're senselessly kind of doing stuff, it's like
But yeah,
So
I mean,
fun.
like
Engaging.
I was saying before, Beckett wrote this as like a change from like his regular prose that he was writing, because he wanted to get away from like that side of things.
Yeah.
okay, Maddie, what
Okay.
happens?
So we got the characters. There is only 5 characters in this play, all men, as we know. So there's Vladimir and Estragon.
I thought you were about to say estrogen. I was like,
Well, actually, when I learnt about it, it was like around the same time we learnt in science about estrogen. I was like, what? It really messed
Everything's
with
just
my head.
named the same.
Yeah, it messed with my head. I was
Maybe
like,
it has something to do with the masculinity.
oh.
No, sorry, that was.
But
like
this
a-
was
that
also
like
around
a
the same
shot
time.
at Samuel Beckett. Sorry, guys.
So there's Vladimir and Estragon. Oh my god, Estragon. 2 trampity tramps. So Vladimir is like the more responsible, mature one, kind of switched on. Estragon is a little bit more like helpless and a bit clueless, a bit like, you know, the nicest way possible. They balance each other out.
I think. Did you just get excited when she said clueless, David?
I like Clueless. What can I say?
But
It's a
she was
nice
describing
movie.
a character and you like the movie.
Clueless.
Clueless?
And something kind of important is that Estragon has like a terrible memory. So Vladimir just constantly is reminding him things because he's forgetting everything that's happening. And then there's Pozzo, who you'll see. And then there's Lucky, who's Pozzo's slave. And then there's the boy, who basically just keeps informing them things. And then there's Godot, who we never see. Spoiler alert.
Ooh.
Okay, so we're on a country road with a single tree. The tree.
The tree. Image of Maddie's tattoo now.
The tree on my tricep. I mean, mine's an interpretation of it, but my tree. So Estragon is trying to pull off his boot. Doesn't happen. Nah. So Vladimir enters and greets him, and he's like, I just spent the night in the ditch. I got beaten. And Estragon is like, yay! I got my boot on. Yeah, that's how it starts.
It is.
And then he looks inside to see if there's anything in there. And Vladimir's like, oh, I'm going to do the same thing with my hat. So they're just looking inside their clothing items. And then Vladimir is like, there's 2 thieves who were crucified next to Christ. Did you know that? And Estragon is like, yeah. Do you know the Gospels?
Do you even know?
And they start talking about the Gospels. So then Estragon gives a short description of the maps of the Holy Land, at which point Vladimir tells him he should have just been a poet. They're just talking. So Estragon then points to his tattered clothes, and he's like, I was a poet.
Oh.
That's why I look like this.
Indeed.
Starving artists. And then Vladimir's like, okay, I'm going to continue with my story about the thieves. So he tells the rest of the story about the thieves. And then Estragon's like, yeah, do you want to get out of here? And Vladimir's like, we're going to stay because we're waiting for Godot, They're waiting for Godot, who's this man. That's why they're both at the tree. Neither of them know when Godot's going to appear, if they're even at the right tree. Yeah, we find out that at the end, they're waiting for so long and Godot never arrives, but they kind of forget why they were waiting for him at the end. They're like, we don't even know what we wanted from this man. We just
Wait, is Godot confirmed? Like, we don't know what Godot is.
There is a lot of theories about it. A lot of people think that Waiting for Godot is a really religious play,
Yeah, they think
and Godot is God.
Godot is God.
Well, yeah, a play making religious commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it does make commentary throughout it, but it doesn't have to be viewed. People view this play in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, that's the point of it. There's a lot of different
Yeah.
interpretations. But like a
Um,
big interpretation is that it's almost making commentary on how religion is.
We're kind of waiting.
We're
for
waiting
Godot.
and waiting,
Yeah.
but
Will we see
is
Godot?
never
Will it
gonna
ever,
come.
Like,
Yeah, we
will
don't know.
God?
like and then they like, yeah, what even is the reason that you're waiting for Godot?
So then Estragon is like, ugh, this is really boring. How about we just hang ourselves? It's just on the tree. And they're like, that's a good idea.
And you were like, I'll get that tree tattooed.
When I was like studying the plot again for this, because I did a lot with it, so like I knew the whole story, but I was like, what? Like I just laughed all over again reading it again.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? The heck? What the heck? Yeah, and so they're like, all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And then they're like, wait, hold on. If one of us dies, the other one's just alone waiting for Godot. We can't have that. And so they're like, never mind, we'll wait till Godot arrives, then we'll hang ourselves. Silly us.
Yeah.
And then Estragon asks Vladimir whether they have rights. And then Vladimir's like, nah, we kind of got rid of those. So that's a thing. I don't really know what they were referring to in that. Like, I remember reading it the first time and being like, huh? That's just a lot of the play. Huh? And then he's like, I think I heard something. It was just imaginary noises. And Vladimir's like, here's a carrot. They eat carrots. Woo. Then Pozzo and Lucky arrive. So Lucky has a rope tied around his neck and he's carrying a stool, a basket, a bag, and a greatcoat. I had the coat on my tree. Pozzo carries a whip, which he uses to control Lucky. Slave vibes. Not fun. Estragon immediately is confused. Oh, he confuses Pozzo with Godot. And so he's like, Godot, you arrived! And Pozzo's like, nah, wrong person, bro.
Sorry.
Not me. Can't be me. And then Pozzo like is ordering Lucky around. Lucky's completely silent and obeys. I remember that being really fun with like slapstick and stuff in it. So
Yeah.
fun, Pozzo and Lucky.
That was heightened clowning.
Yeah, it was so fun. So Pozzo has Lucky put down the stool and opens a basket of food which contains chicken. They eat the chicken and throw away the bones. And then Lucky stands in a stooped posture holding the bags after each command has been completed and appears to be falling asleep. And then Estragon and Vladimir are like, what is going over there? Bloody weirdos. And so they go to like have a look and they're like, you have your bags. You've been holding them the whole time. Why? And Pozzo's like, we're not going to tell you. So Estragon is like, if we can have the chicken bones that you've thrown away. Oh yeah. He's like, can I have the chicken bones that you've thrown away? And then I won't ask you anymore. I'm just really hungry. And they ask and yeah, giving them. How exciting. Doesn't ask again. And then Pozzo eventually tells them why. They're like, yeah, okay. I'll tell you anyways. It's great. Nice little trade. And he thinks that it's because that Lucky's afraid of being given away. And Pozzo tells them why Lucky continues to carry the bags. Lucky begins to weep. Estragon wipes away the tears, but then gets kicked in the shin. It's just a lot of stuff happening. Pozzo then tells them that him and Lucky have been together for nearly 60 years. 60 years of that.
Whatever it is.
Weird slavery.
I think they say, like, I think one of the interpretations of those two is that it's like a representation of class.
Oh, that's smart.
That's what we looked at it as in school. It was like the poor and the rich, and like
yeah,
the rich feeding off the poor
that makes sense.
and getting richer because of the poor.
And then Vladimir is like, oh my god, you've been dealing with this for 60 years. Like, you're such a good servant and you get treated like this. And Pozzo's like, yeah, but he's kind of a burden. Like, kind of not a fan. Vladimir then yells at Lucky and is like, this is appalling. Like, he's such a good master. What are you doing? Then they just talk about the night sky. They're just chit-chatting. They dance. Just dancing. So then they just start talking about religious and political views. And they wrestle to get Lucky's hat off. I have the hat on my tree as well. And then the last word in that whole argument is unfinished, which you could argue is just a representation of the entire play. Unfinished. That's just the last thing he says. Which is kind of funky. So then they're like trying to get Lucky awake after the whole wrestle thing. Whack. And then the young boy arrives. The young boy is kind of key in both acts. There's 2 acts, by the way. So he arrives and he's like, I've been sent by Godot. And Estragon is like, you took way too long. What the heck? And the boy is like, yeah, sorry, look, this is the first time I've ever met you guys. And they were like, oh, okay, all good. And he was like, Godot won't be coming today, but maybe tomorrow. We'll see. And then they're like, okay, well, tell Godot that you've seen us. Uh-huh. And that's the end of Act 1. Act 2. So basically just a whole lot of, passing time. A whole lot of it. And then Act 2, the same day. No, the next day, the same time. So Estragon's boots and Lucky's hat are still on stage. They're like big little symbols in this thing. Big little? Yeah. Vladimir appears and starts to sing until Estragon shows up barefoot. Estragon's upset that Vladimir was singing and happy even though he was not there. They do everything together. It's really cute. They both admit that they feel better when alone but convince themselves that they're happier when together. But they're still going to wait for Godot together. Estragon and Vladimir then poetically talk about all the dead voices they've been hearing. They're haunted by the voices in the sounds of the nature, and it's basically just the leaves rustling and stuff like that, and they think it's really dramatic. Vladimir shouts at Estragon to help him not hear the voices anymore, and Estragon tries and finally decides that they should ask each other questions. Just 21 questions back in the day.
21 questions.
Yep.
They were like, let's play. 21? I 20 questions.
Wow, I was 21.
No, it was 20 questions.
Maybe the first one was, do you want to play 21 questions? And then you ask 20. I think that might have been how it went. I
just remember doing it in the car, and like as a kid, I always had to like count on my hands, like how many questions, like
so
1
fun.
question, 2 question.
Oh, that's so fun. We should play. So Estragon forgot everything that happened the day before. He forgot all about Pozzo and Lucky. He forgot that he wanted to hang himself from a tree. He forgot about his boots. And yeah, just forgets absolutely everything. So they're kind of just like talking back and forth about their questions. Because Vladimir is like, do you remember this from yesterday? And then Estragon's like, no. And that happens for the entire questions. So they're done talking, decide to pick another topic. Vladimir finds Lucky's hat and tries it on. They're trading hats for a while. Then they decide to like act as Pozzo and Lucky. Estragon leaves, only to immediately return panting and says that they are coming. Vladimir thinks that it must be Godot who's coming to save them, so he becomes afraid and tries to hide behind the tree. The conversation then degenerates into abusive phrases. Estragon says stuff like, that's the idea, let's abuse each other. And they continue to hurl insults at one another until Estragon calls Vladimir a critic. They embrace and continue waiting. Pozzo and Lucky then enter, but this time Pozzo is blind and Lucky is mute. Pozzo and Lucky are just the fun parts of this play. They're just fun. Lucky stops when he sees the 2 men, and Pozzo crashes into him and they both fall helplessly into a heap on the ground. Vladimir is overjoyed that the reinforcements have arrived to help with the wait-in, and Estragon again thinks that Godot has arrived. Vladimir and Estragon then discuss the merits of helping Pozzo get off the ground where he's fallen. When Vladimir asks how many other men spend their time waiting, Estragon replies that it is billions. Pozzo is in desperation and offers to pay for help by offering 100 francs. I think that's just like a currency. I don't know. Well, Estragon says that is not enough. So 100 francs was not enough, whatever that is. Vladimir does not want to pick up Pozzo because then he and Estragon will be all alone again. But he goes over. Estragon decides to leave, but then decides to stay. And then while helping Pozzo, both Vladimir and Estragon fall and cannot get up. Pozzo talks again, and Vladimir kicks him violently to make him shut up. Vladimir and Estragon both get up, and Pozzo resumes calling for help. They go up and help him up, and Pozzo asks who they are and what time it is. They simply cannot answer the questions. Estragon goes to wake up Lucky. He kicks him and starts hurling a...
David
What is Frank's? Hate David.
Okay, so francs is a Swiss currency, apparently,
Oh.
according to Google. And 100 francs is $150.
Okay, that was not enough. No, that's fair. That's kind of fair.
To do what?
You're not listening, David.
I was busy Googling francs. But also, that could have changed over time, like currency rate.
They basically
exchange
just want to
rates.
help Pozzo.
$150
Yeah.
isn't enough to help Pozzo.
Not in Pozzo's eyes.
Okay. It was probably a different number to 150. It's probably changed since then.
Probably.
But that's the current exchange rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Back then, I don't know.
Back then, who knows?
So then Vladimir asks Pozzo to make Lucky dance or think for them again. Pozzo tells them that Lucky is mute, but when Vladimir asks since when, Pozzo gets into a rage. Everyone just forgets what happened yesterday. He tells them to stop harassing him with their time questions since he has no notion of it. He then helps Lucky up and they leave. Vladimir reflects on the fact that there will be no truth and that tomorrow he will know nothing of what has just passed. There is no way of confirming his memory since Estragon always seems to forget everything that happens to him. So basically,
Oh.
stuff happens, and Vladimir has no one validating what happened. So he feels like he's going crazy.
So in a weird way, it's like almost like a unintentional gaslight. Like
yeah, but
like
Estragon just doesn't remember.
because he doesn't remember. So like then Vladimir is then questioning.
Yeah,
Well,
And-
am I crazy
yeah.
for thinking those things happen?
And because Vladimir's so logical, he's like, I'm pretty sure it happened. Like,
But also,
and Estragon's like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't help you. And that would be so frustrating if you were just spending day after day with someone and they forgot like,
everything all
what's
the
the
time.
point? Which is why they repeat a lot of
Exactly.
things. It's very, yeah, there's no point. Yeah. The boy then arrives again, but does not remember meeting Estragon or Vladimir. The boy doesn't remember either. And he's like, this is my first time meeting you. And I remember when I studied the play.
Double gaslight.
Yeah. I remember when I studied the play, because in the first act, the boy's like, this is my first time meeting you. I'm like, were they actually, like, has there been days before this day?
I think that's what it implies.
We don't know.
Yeah. We don't know, but
Because
I
at
think
the start they meet, but you're like, maybe you just met again and you didn't know that you've already met.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like I think so. Like I think this is that's the point. The point of the play is like
When did it start?
when did it, well, the point is it never ends.
Yeah,
it
ever.
keeps going.
Yeah.
Godot never comes.
No. The conversation is identical from the day before, that Mr. Godot once again will not be able to come, but will be sure to try and arrive tomorrow. Vladimir demands that the boy be sure to tell him that he saw him, and he yells, you're sure you saw me? You won't come and tell me tomorrow that you never saw me. Because Vladimir is like, I swear I saw this guy yesterday. He's the only logical one in this whole play. And everyone is like, no, he really is being gaslit by everyone. So the two bums are like, we're going to leave. We can't go far because we need to wait for Godot. So they look at the tree and contemplate hanging themselves. Estragon takes off his belt, but it breaks when they pull on it. I remember studying that, but what? Just completely breaks. He couldn't hang himself. His trousers fall down, and Vladimir says they will hang themselves tomorrow unless Godot comes to save them. He tells Estragon to put on his trousers, and they decide to leave again, but do not move. And that's the end of the play.
That's it. That's
That's
the
the end.
play.
So there's a lot that happens, but essentially, if you want like a really brief summary, it's basically Estragon and Vladimir waiting for Godot, waiting for this man that never arrives, and they're just repeating things over and over.
Filling time
Yeah.
and having interactions with the extra characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it quite interesting. And I know like that kind of sounds like it would be boring. And to
It's
some
really
it
not.
might be, but it's
It's kind of, there's no real climax or building or like rising action or anything like that, but at the same time you're drawn from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, and it's not like,
it's engaging.
yeah,
And I think the play does well for you to like have that moment of we're repeating us. I see.
You're like, you just had that conversation.
You just had that like not like a I understand like everything, but like this is
gonna repeat.
this is
but
going
like
to
enough differences that like the differences make it so interesting in the second act, because you're like, what?
yeah.
Like the whole Lucky being mute in the second act after that, like that crazy monologue that he has at the beginning with the thinking cap.
Thinking cap, yeah.
Yeah. Which
With the hat.
I did that monologue once.
Cute.
Did you?
Yeah, it was nice.
It was
Oh.
nice.
Just one time.
Just one time. No.
It's a wild monologue. That monologue
is.
takes a lot of work to do because it's like such a quick like and dubba-dubba-dubba-dubba-dubba.
I love it.
Yeah, because
I could see you playing that character well.
yeah,
I could
'cause it's
too.
kind of like just for the listeners' reference. It's kind of in the first act, Lucky is allowed that time to talk, and it's like all of his words just come out at once, and all of the thoughts that he could have had all just rush into his brain and out of his mouth all at once. And so it's like none of it makes sense, but it all does make sense, and it's all very well informed, but actually it's completely illogical.
Did anyone else in school look at those two characters as like a representation of class? I mean, of course, it's just an interpretation, but that's what we looked.
We probably
at it
did, but I don't remember
as.
that.
I don't remember. See, mine, when I studied it in school, it wasn't like my class studied it.
Yeah.
My teacher like opened up our cabinets full of plays, and we had like a whole wall full of cabinets, and he was like, you can choose 1 or 2 or 3 plays.
I thought it
From
was going
this
to keep
cabinet.
going, or 4 or 5. 10 if
but
you
it
really
was
wish.
like you can pick 1, 2 or 3 of these plays, any of them. And so I picked Waiting for Godot, but it was like I was the only one doing Waiting for Godot, and it was like everyone was doing
So you
other
weren't
plays.
even like it wasn't in your curriculum, like you just chose
No,
it.
I just chose Waiting for Godot.
Chosen one.
See, Possum Unlucky, when I studied it, was more just about the human condition and like having like other people impact your little bubble in life.
Yeah, see, I
Mm.
talked about like I looked into the human condition more because I was like relating it to Neverland and Peter Pan and stuff, and being like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, style of the play, we've mentioned it.
I don't know.
Absurd.
Gothic.
No, okay.
No, it's absurd.
Yeah, it's got that like theatre of the absurd vibe, but also kind of postmodern.
Yeah. Oh no,
In that,
yeah,
like,
definitely postmodern.
Postmodernism was sort of arising after World War II when the play was written, and a shift from the modernist ideals of like we're creating new forms and new things and experimenting with things that haven't been done, to the postmodern, we're going to take old forms and old styles and combine them to make something different,
Yeah.
which is kind of what the play does. Like it has that absurd element, but it's also like really like it's got like existentialism and slapstick and like just a whole bunch of little bits and inspiration from like genre scene and places, like, and just all over the place.
Yeah. It's really. I think this next question is interesting. What are the main overarching themes? Whatever you want, really. I mean, not
No,
what you
there's
want, but like
themes.
there are themes, existentialism, all that. But like, in terms of what you can take away from it, very much up to
Yeah.
the viewer. I think
Definitely.
the reason it is.
Oh, did we say tragic comedy?
I wanted to talk about that next,
Sorry.
actually. 'cause
Yeah.
I had stuff to say about that. Yeah.
I was going to say the reason I think maybe it is like taken so much as a commentary on religion is because Samuel himself became agnostic. Like he was
Mm.
raised in religion,
Yeah.
and then I guess decided like there wasn't a point to it. And so I think a lot of people think it was his like this was part of him saying like
I guess Waiting for Godot would link to agnostic views. Very much like maybe it's something, but like, will we see it? I don't know.
we don't know. Like we don't like. There's no way to know. Like, are we going to be waiting forever, or is this pointless, or is it,
Yeah.
or is something eventually going to come? Don't know. Is
it's
Godot
such
God?
Good play. I remember, so with the existentialism, one of the things that like got me hooked on this before I even read it was like we were doing like the Waiting for Godot, like this is what the play's going to be about. And it was in grade 10 and my teacher was like, we're going to take a quiz about existentialism. And you just answered like a bunch of questions and it said like whether you were an existentialist or not. And I just remember my mind being blown. Like I like did this quiz and was like, that concept is so like interesting to me. And like I made a few people I know take the quiz because I was like, I think you're an existentialist. And like I was in grade
You were like,
I was like going out to my friends at break being like, I would like you to take this
I would like
quiz.
you to know.
I literally did. And I was like, I need you to take this. Like, and they were like, what's, I was like, I don't even know. I haven't read the play yet. But I was like, I was like, that concept is so cool. And then studying it, I don't know, I just connected to this play. And like, I guess the reason that I have it tattooed isn't because I'm like, oh, it's such a funny play. Just the way that the themes, because yeah, it is a very open theme to play, but it's just so symbolic of life. And like, we don't really know what's happening tomorrow. And like, we don't.
True.
And I love that concept. It might be sad or that's another thing. It's a drama, comedy.
Tragicomedy.
Tragicomedy. And a lot of people think it's really funny. I thought it was really sad back in school. And then I found it funny, and then I found it sad, and then I found it funny. But a lot of people are just like, it's a comedy. It's funny. I thought it was
I think it's both.
sad.
It's both, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, the themes are very dark. The thoughts it provokes are very dark. But the actual, I guess, actions and like the actual like dialogue and all that, like what's happening is quite hilarious in the moment. Or can be. I don't know. Depends how you perform it. But yeah.
And for a while I thought about it like maybe it's like there's all these like dark thoughts and dark things happening, but it's like life where you kind of disguise it through happy little events in life.
Through
even
comedy.
though there's like this overarching like what is going to happen. You kind of just get through your days with those little comedy bits.
Exactly. You laugh at
Yeah.
life.
So I think it's what you take from the play that makes it good or not.
Yeah.
Not
That's
the
the whole
actual
thing with
play
like
itself, really.
That's the whole thing with like death of the author. Like, the author may think one thing about their work, but they can't control what audiences will how they will receive it. So, which is really interesting. Were the characters and plot well developed? I
Did
feel
we
like that's
ever
a
talk
hard.
about themes?
Huh?
Did we ever talk about themes?
Yeah, we just did.
We spoke about
That
it at
was
the
not
start.
themes.
No, we spoke about it at the start.
Oh, okay. Well, what other
We
themes?
talked about genres at the start.
No, we spoke about existentialism, human condition, friendship is another theme,
Look, maybe we did. I don't know. I don't remember.
companionship, friendship,
Yeah.
existentialism, absurdism, the human condition. That's I'm just listing
Okay.
them off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Were the characters and plot well developed? I think this is an interesting one to answer because it's not really. I mean, yes, there's no plot. I mean, there is a plot, but also it's not. Do you know? Do you
There's
see
not
how
really character arc and
there's
like
no
a
like
fall
arc?
and a rise?
There's no like
No.
And the characters do have their traits. Like Vladimir is the more serious one and stuff like that, but
It feels intentionally vague.
yes, exactly. Like it's
developed to the point that it was meant to be developed to.
it's not your traditional development, but it works.
I don't know if like individually I think their dynamic is well developed though.
Of course.
Yeah.
Does the play flow well? Yeah.
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 It's one of those plays that I found, like, we talk about how watching a play makes it so much easier to read the play. For me, this was a play that I didn't watch or, like, I wasn't involved in a performance of before reading it, and I was able to read it so easily and was so invested and, like, just found it really engaging as a piece of literature.
I would agree with that. Like I didn't find it hard to read. I was intrigued, and yeah, and I haven't necessarily seen. I've watched clips of that. If you really want to see the play, there is like a filmed version
I've
on
seen it.
YouTube. I've seen clips from it. I watched clips from it in school. It's actually really well done. I think it's very
I enjoyed it.
entertaining. But yeah, I still same here. Liked reading it.
Oh no, loved reading it. Yeah. No, yeah, I did find it really easy to read just as like just reading. I've read it multiple times.
Yeah. What are your guys' like favorite parts of the play? I guess like something that you take away from it personally. One of the
Like a
biggest things.
moment?
Yeah, one of
Or-
the big moments that you take away from it
I think
personally.
my favourite moment is Lucky's monologue in Act 1. I just really like that.
Well, Maddie, are you
That's so
thinking of
hard.
one? Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's
really
okay.
hard for me. It's one of my favorite plays.
I'll go. I weirdly, in like a dark way, like the ending a lot. I think it's very thought-provoking. The fact that
Yeah.
he doesn't come, and I love the repetition because it's so sad. And it's so like, but like, it's also very thought-provoking, which is what I love about it. So yeah, so like the ending is one of my favorite parts.
I almost don't want to say my favorite part because I kept being like, that's it. And then I was like, that cannot be my favorite part.
Highlights. Give us like rundown of
Oh
your
no,
highlights.
like there's a lot, but the scene where they almost hang themselves, not in like in a really, it's dark and it's not like my favorite part, like haha funny, but like in like they were like, maybe that's it, and then they just instantly were like, nah, and like it just I just remember that scene making me think a lot, and it does. Just it's very relevant still to people with mental illnesses, unfortunately. But they were just like, this is the easy way out. Why don't we just do this? And then it wasn't the easy way out anymore because they couldn't do it. And like they tried multiple times throughout the play and it couldn't happen. They were like, oh, this isn't the easy way. We're just going to continue doing this.
Yeah.
And live in life. And it just, yeah. I like that part.
Yeah.
I think it was well done.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this one's been a bit of a doozy. We've gone on a lot of tangents. We've gone for quite a while. So we might begin to wrap it up now before we could talk about this play for it's like that's the thing about this play. You could talk about it for hours and hours and hours. I think that's the bit like that's the big thing about this play is like not to say that other plays you can't, but like sometimes you're like, oh, that was a nice story.
It's very open to discussion.
Like I said, this one is like very like, what do you think about this? And I had a completely different interpretation here, and so it like just provokes conversations, which is what's really cool about it. Alrighty, this has been our take on Waiting for Godot. We hope to see you next week, and this has been Haley,
Maddie,
And David.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to press play.
Bye.
Bye.